You've never been waiting on the world. The world has been waiting on you. There's a quiet revolution happening, not in politics, not in tech, but within you. A shift in how we see reality, not as something we endure, but something we create. We were taught life is hard, linear, and fixed. But what if it's not? What if your reality isn't happening to you, but through you? This isn't a motivational slogan, it's quantum physics. And today, you're going to see how it changes everything. Part 1. The illusion we've been sold. From the moment you were born, the world began to whisper to you. This is what's real. This is how it works. This is what you can expect. But what if those whispers weren't truth? What if they were just echoes of someone else's story? We were handed a script before we even knew how to speak. A script that told us life is hard, that success comes from struggle, that reality is a fixed object, and we are merely visitors passing through it. Powerless, small, at the mercy of events. Be realistic, they said. Work hard. Stay in line. Don't dream too big. But here's the secret no one told you. That script is optional, and the version of reality you inherited was never the only one. The architecture of assumptions. From our earliest memories, we're shaped by systems designed for stability, not sovereignty. School doesn't teach you to think. It teaches you to memorize. Work doesn't train you to create. It trains you to obey. And the stories we absorb from society, stories about worth, money, love, success, are less about truth and more about transmission. We're not told, this is one way. We're told, this is the way. And so we internalize beliefs that were never ours. Beliefs about what's possible, beliefs about what's allowed. By the age of 7, most of our subconscious programming is complete, not because we chose it, but because we absorbed it. You begin to carry that programming like a lens, seeing everything through its distortion, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. Reality isn't objective, it's observed. Here's the first great crack in the illusion. Reality isn't objective, it's participatory. Quantum physics has shown us this in experiment after experiment. Particles change behavior depending on whether they're observed. Matter doesn't solidify until it is interacted with. Let that sink in. What we experience as real is not simply what is, it's what we are focused on. And if reality itself responds to our observation, then how real is what we call real. Visual. Split screen, one half a grayscale scene of a person trapped in routine, the other vibrant, creative, open-ended moments of someone in flow. Both versions of reality, one person, different internal states. We've been sold the illusion of an external world, cold, fixed, indifferent. But we were never meant to just watch reality. We were meant to shape it. And yet, most of us are stuck playing roles in a movie we didn't write. The hidden cost of being realistic. Be realistic. It sounds like wisdom, but often it's a code for limitation. Don't dream too big. Don't question too much. Don't get your hopes up. Realism becomes a shield, not against failure, but against disappointment. But disappointment is a temporary feeling. Settling for a small life, that's a lifetime sentence. Being realistic has cost us our intuition, our magic, our sense of possibility. You stop asking what if and start asking what's safe. You stop living and start managing. Realism was never meant to be a virtue. It was designed to keep you inside the known. But your soul, it longs for the unknown, for the edge, for expansion. When logic becomes a cage. We've been taught to worship logic. If it can't be proven, it can't be trusted. But logic, for all its brilliance, is limited. It only works inside the bounds of what it already understands. And the quantum field, it doesn't live inside those bounds. It doesn't care about your spreadsheets, your to-do lists, your 5-year plan. It responds to energy. It responds to frequency. It responds to belief. If you only allow in what logic approves of, you're building your future from yesterday's materials. That's not creation. That's repetition. The quiet tension you've always felt. Maybe you've always felt it. That quiet sense that something doesn't quite add up. That life is more than this. That maybe, just maybe, There's a deeper intelligence at play, a hidden order, a kind of divine responsiveness to your inner world. You felt it in moments of synchronicity, when you thought of someone and they called, when you felt a pull to do something irrational and it led to a breakthrough. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. And every time you ignored it, you felt a pang, a sadness, a subtle grief for the parts of yourself you were told to suppress. The patterns we keep repeating. Here's where it gets even deeper. Most of us aren't living our lives. We're reliving our past over and over. The same arguments, the same fears, the same self-doubt, packaged in new clothes. Why? Because we haven't questioned the patterns we inherited. You're not good enough. Love has to be earned. There's never enough. People always leave. I have to hustle to prove my worth. These beliefs don't live in your mind. They live in your field. And until you shine light on them, they'll keep casting the same shadow on every area of your life. Reclaiming the role of creator. The illusion says you are the audience. The field says you are the author. This is the shift from observing to influencing, from reacting to choosing, from surviving to creating. But it's not about forcing your way into a new life. It's about gently unlearning the version you were given. You begin to question, who told me this was true? What part of me still believes it? What new belief would I choose if I were free? And here's the thing, you are free. The cage was never locked. You just forgot you had the key. A mirror, not a movie reality, isn't a movie you sit and watch. It's a mirror that responds to who you are being. When you shift your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations, the mirror begins to reflect something new. Not immediately, not perfectly, but undeniably. Because the field isn't some distant force. It's the fabric of you. You are not in the field. You are the field. Every breath, every belief, every moment of awareness is a ripple. So the real question becomes, what signal am I sending? Breaking the fourth wall. This moment, right now, is your break in the script. The scene where the character turns to the camera and says, "Wait, this isn't real, is it?" It's the moment you wake up. The veil lifts, the story cracks, and possibility rushes in like light. From here, everything changes, not because the world shifts first, but because you do. And when you shift, the world has no choice but to follow. You've been told to be realistic, but you were born to be visionary. You've been living inside an illusion, but now you see it, and seeing it is the beginning of freedom. In the next chapter, we pull back the curtain further and explore what the quantum field really is and how it's shaping your life in every moment. Stay tuned. The shift has just begun. Part 2. What the quantum field actually is. Beneath the surface of everything you know, there is movement, vibration, intelligence, a language not spoken in words, but in frequency. This is not science fiction. This is science, so advanced, so ancient. It finally circles back to something the mystics always knew. We are not in the universe. The universe is in us. But what does that really mean? Let's go there. Let's talk about the quantum field. What is the quantum field? Let's strip it down. The quantum field is the invisible, energetic infrastructure that underlies all of existence. It's not a place, it's not a thing, it's not an object. It is the space between all things. It's the potential before the particle, the wave before the form, the intelligence before the idea. If classical physics sees the world as a machine, quantum physics sees it as a mystery, a living, breathing field of infinite potential. Nothing in the quantum field is fixed. Everything exists as possibility until you observe it. And that act of observation, it collapses the wave into a particle. You don't find reality. You create it by interacting with it. From matter to energy. We've been taught that everything is matter, that we are solid objects in a physical universe. But here's the truth. The closer we look at matter, the less solid it becomes. Zoom in far enough and you'll find that atoms, supposedly the building blocks of reality, are made up of mostly empty space. In fact, If you removed all the empty space from every human body on Earth, what remained would fit inside a single sugar cube. Read that again. What appears solid is not. What feels heavy is hollow. And what you think is real is actually energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Reality isn't built on bricks. It's built on waves, and those waves, they're part of the field. You are already in the field. You don't have to access the quantum field. You're in it right now. You're made of it. The thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the intentions you set, each one sends a ripple into this field. You are not separate from the universe. You are a node in its system, an instrument in its symphony. You are the field, localized. You're the quantum field, having a human experience, and that changes everything. The field responds to frequency. This is the most important concept of all. The quantum field doesn't speak your language. It doesn't respond to your words, your hustle, or your plans. It responds to your frequency. And frequency is determined by two things: what you feel, what you believe. When your internal world is filled with fear, doubt, and resistance, you send out chaotic signals. The field, without judgment, reflects that chaos back to you. But when you feel coherence, love, gratitude, wholeness, you emit a signal that's magnetic. You begin to tune into realities that match your vibration, and that's not woo-woo. That's physics, consciousness, and collapse. Let's go a little deeper. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state called superposition, where they are not this or that, but both. They are possibilities, infinite ones. But the moment an observer interacts with the field, the wave collapses. One reality materializes. This is called the observer effect, and it's the foundation of quantum theory. Your attention collapses potential into form. Let's simplify that. When you focus on a thought or belief with emotional intensity, you're choosing a version of reality from the field of all possibilities. And the field says, yes. It doesn't argue, it doesn't question, it mirrors. Recurrence is not random, it's resonance. Have you noticed how certain patterns keep repeating in your life? Same type of partner, same financial struggles, same emotional loops. These aren't random, they're resonance. You're broadcasting a frequency, and the field is echoing it back. It doesn't mean you're bad or wrong. It just means you're unaware of the signal you're sending. Once you realize this, you stop trying to fix the world and start tuning your energy, because the truth is, you can't out-hustle your frequency. Coherence, the field's native language. When your heart and brain are aligned, meaning your emotions and thoughts are working together, you enter a state called coherence. In this state, your energy becomes harmonic. It stops sending mixed signals. It begins to radiate a pure, clear frequency. This frequency is like a lighthouse in the field. It draws in matching experiences like gravity, love, opportunity, healing. Not because you're lucky, but because you're in tune. Coherence is clarity, and clarity is power. This is why affirmations alone don't work. You can say, I am abundant 1,000 times, but if you feel scarcity, the field tunes to scarcity. It doesn't respond to language. It responds to alignment. And alignment isn't forced, it's remembered. The field is not out there, it's within. Here's another myth to shatter. You don't have to go somewhere to access the quantum field. You don't need a guru. You don't need a retreat in Bali. You don't need to chant under the moon. Unless that aligns with you. The field is within. It's the awareness behind your eyes. It's the stillness between your thoughts. When you drop into presence, even for a moment, you feel it. Not as a thought, as a knowing, that you are not just in this world, you are weaving it. The field doesn't judge, it mirrors. This is critical. The field doesn't say, you deserve this. You're ready. You've earned it. It simply reflects your state of being. If you feel worthy, you receive. If you feel whole, you attract. Not because the universe rewards good people, but because the signal you emit becomes the experience you receive. You don't need to beg for a better life. You need to broadcast one. That's alignment. That's mastery. The choice point. Observation. Every moment, you are standing in a sea of infinite versions of your life. Infinite outcomes, infinite timelines, infinite yous. And every moment, you are choosing one. Not consciously, perhaps, but energetically. Your beliefs are steering the ship. Your emotions are fueling the engine. So ask yourself, what version of reality am I observing? What version of me am I focused on? And what am I unintentionally rehearsing? Because every rehearsal becomes reality in the quantum field, tuning into the signal of the future. The future isn't somewhere you're going. It's a frequency you're tuning into. When you begin to think like your future self, feel like your future self, act, walk, breathe like your future self, you become a vibrational match to that timeline. And the field says, okay, let's make that real. This is how change happens, not by chance, but by choice. And the choice begins not with action, but with energy. The practice, entering the field. So how do you interact with the quantum field? Gently, consistently, deliberately. Try this. Still your mind. Breath brings you home. Feel into your future self, not as fantasy, as memory. Broadcast the frequency, gratitude, love, trust, release attachment. You're not forcing, you're allowing. Return to presence again and again and again. Because the field isn't changed by noise. It's moved by resonance. The field is listening, always, every sigh, every surge of joy, every flicker of doubt. The field hears it, but it doesn't judge. It doesn't punish. It doesn't delay. It simply reflects. You're not waiting on the universe. It's responding to you with impeccable precision. So the question isn't, does the field work? It's, am I working with it? Final truth, the field is a mirror, not a savior. The quantum field will not save you because you don't need saving. It will not hand you a dream while you vibrate in fear. Not because you're being punished, but because it's a mirror. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you become. To shift reality, don't change the world. Change the frequency you're sending into it. And the most powerful frequency of all? Belief. Unshakable, quiet, coherent belief in your own becoming. The field is not a fantasy. It is your forgotten home. It has always been here, waiting for you to remember that you are not just a part of it. You are it. You are not separate. You are source. Part 3. You are broadcasting all the time. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you carry is a broadcast. You are always sending a signal into the field, not once a week, not just during meditation, not only when you're doing the work, always, every moment, even when you're not aware. The question isn't whether you're broadcasting, it's what you're broadcasting. And for most people, it's noise, the signal of you. Imagine you are a radio tower, invisible to the eye, but constantly pulsing energy, information, and intention into the quantum field. Your thoughts are data, your emotions are charge, your beliefs are tuning dials, and together they create your unique frequency signature. This frequency is what the quantum field responds to, not your words, not your goals, not your hustle. The field listens to the signal beneath the story. So the real question becomes, what signal are you sending into the universe right now? Mixed signals equals scrambled results. Let's say you're trying to manifest a new reality. You affirm, I am successful. I am abundant. But inside you feel fear. You doubt yourself. You brace for disappointment before it even arrives. The result? You send a mixed signal. And the field? It doesn't judge. It doesn't translate. It simply mirrors back what it receives. You asked for success, but you vibrated scarcity. You spoke abundance, but felt unworthy. This is why many people feel like manifestation doesn't work. It's not because the law is broken. It's because their signal is incoherent. The subconscious rules the broadcast. Here's the kicker. Only 5% of your mind is conscious. The other 95%, your subconscious, is running the show. This is where your deep beliefs live. Beliefs like, I'm not enough. I always get left behind. Money is hard to come by. Love must be earned. Even if you consciously want something new, If your subconscious doesn't agree, your frequency remains tied to the old story, and that's the signal the field tunes into. To change your reality, you must first change your baseline broadcast. That means going beyond positive thinking. It means aligning your conscious desires with your subconscious truth. That's called coherence.
Coherence, the clear signal. When your heart and your mind agree, when your thoughts and emotions are in harmony, you become magnetic. You move into coherence, a stable, powerful state where your signal is pure, consistent, and clear. In coherence, you don't have to make things happen. Things begin to flow toward you. Why? Because now the field knows exactly what to echo back. No static, no distortion, just resonance. The clearer the signal, the cleaner the reflection. The cost of emotional rehearsal. Here's where many of us unknowingly sabotage our signal. We rehearse emotions that don't match the future we say we want. We replay memories of rejection. We relive moments of failure. We carry guilt, shame, grief, day after day like armor. Not realizing, these emotions are frequency, and frequency is fuel. What you feel repeatedly, you broadcast. What you broadcast, you attract. Not because you're cursed, because you're on a loop, and the only way off the loop is to stop feeding the signal of the past. Thought loops become life. Loops. Every thought emits a frequency. Think it once, small ripple. Think it 60,000 times a day. It becomes a vibration pattern. That pattern becomes your mood. Your mood becomes your identity. Your identity becomes your life. You're not just thinking about your reality, you're training your nervous system to recreate it. This is how the same problems keep showing up with different faces. Why does the same type of relationship keep hurting you? Why does money keep slipping through your fingers? Why do you keep ending up back at square one? It's not fate, it's frequency. The field is your feedback loop. Here's a revolutionary truth. Your life is a mirror, a living, breathing feedback system. It shows you not what you deserve, but what you believe. Not what you say, but what you expect. So when reality isn't working, don't fight the mirror. Check the broadcast. Is this energy I would send if I already had what I want? Would my future self feel this way today? Am I aligned with what I'm asking for? The field reflects who you are being, not who you're pretending to be. How to change the channel. You can't stop broadcasting, but you can change the station. Here's how. 1. Pause the program. Become aware of your most common thought loops. Catch yourself in old patterns. Interrupt them, not with judgment, but with presence. Ah, there it is, the frequency of lack. I see you. Awareness is the first shift. 2. Feel it to free. It don't bypass your emotions. Feel them fully, then ask, is this emotion creating the future I desire? If not, thank it and let it go. Emotion is energy in motion. When honored, it moves. 3. Choose a new frequency. Instead of just thinking your way out, feel your way into the new signal. Ask, how would I feel if I already had the love I want? How would I walk if I knew success was guaranteed? How would I breathe if I truly felt safe, supported, whole? Then, practice that feeling. Not once, not perfectly, but consistently. That's how you build a new baseline broadcast. What happens? When the signal clears, when your broadcast becomes consistent, reality responds fast. You begin to experience synchronicities, attract aligned people, make effortless decisions, feel grounded even when things feel uncertain. This is not manifestation. This is magnetic resonance. The field no longer sees you as seeking. It sees you as matching. And matching is when things start to flow. The trap. Needing the evidence. The biggest mistake? Waiting for proof before changing your frequency. If it shows up, I'll believe it. But the field doesn't work like that. You don't attract what you hope for. You attract what you embody. If you need evidence before trusting, you're broadcasting lack. If you wait for love to feel loved, you're broadcasting loneliness. If you wait for success to feel worthy, you're broadcasting doubt. The field listens to who you are before it gives you the result. This is the discipline, to feel it before you see it, to become the proof. Broadcasting is a full-body practice. This isn't about wishful thinking, it's about embodied alignment. Your mind thinks, your heart feels, your body broadcasts. So how you speak, walk, breathe, it all sends signals. You don't have to fake it. You have to tune into it. Even subtle shifts matter. Choosing gratitude over complaint. Choosing presence over control. Choosing trust over urgency. Each choice is a vote for a different frequency, a different signal, a different timeline. The practice, daily broadcast calibration. Try this for 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply into your heart. Feel into the version of you who already has what you desire. Let that feeling expand in your body. Open your eyes and move from that state. That's a clear signal. That's conscious broadcasting. Final truth. You are the transmission. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You're just learning how to broadcast clearly. You're learning how to stop emitting the static of your past and start transmitting the signal of your future. The field doesn't ask you to be perfect, just aligned, just aware, just coherent. Because when you are, the entire universe tunes in. You don't have to chase reality. You only have to become a clear enough signal that it chases you. You are broadcasting all the time. Now, it's time to do it intentionally. Part 4. Gentle shifting, the new model of transformation. We've been taught that change must be loud, explosive, dramatic, difficult. But real transformation is quiet, almost imperceptible, like a single-degree shift on a compass that leads you to an entirely new world. This is the heart of gentle shifting. The art of change, not through struggle but through surrender, not by pushing but by aligning. The old model, force, hustle, pressure. Let's talk about how we've been conditioned to transform. We're told to push harder, hustle longer, do more, strive, strain, sacrifice. We're taught that if it doesn't hurt, it's not working. That success requires suffering. That healing must be dramatic. That change is always a fight. But here's the truth. The old model of transformation was built on fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of falling behind. Fear of losing control. So we claw at life, trying to bend it into form, chasing outcomes like they're running from us. And in the process, we exhaust ourselves. We burn out. We disconnect from our power. A new way to shift. Gentle shifting is not about doing less. It's about being more precise with your energy. It's about knowing this. You are not here to wrestle life into submission. You are here to resonate with the life you desire until it becomes your experience. This is the shift from effort to embodiment, from reaction to intention, from control to coherence. And it doesn't require drama. It requires devotion. Subtle energy equals massive impact. Think about nature. Does a seed explode into a tree? Does the tide scream as it returns to shore? Number transformation in nature is gentle, rhythmic, consistent. And yet, it is unstoppable. You are nature. And your evolution? It doesn't need to be chaotic. It needs to be true. A 1-degree shift sustained over time will change your entire reality. That's not weakness. That's mastery. Gentle is not equal to passive. Let's be clear. Gentle shifting is not passivity. It's not about giving up. It's not spiritual bypassing. And it's definitely not complacency. It is active surrender. It's fierce softness. It's learning to meet each moment, not with force, but with frequency. To ask with radical honesty, is this thought building the life I want? Is this emotion aligned with my future self? Is this action a reflection of who I'm becoming? And if the answer is no, you shift. Lovingly. Intentionally. Again and again. That's power. You don't need to burn your life down. You don't need to quit your job, leave the country, or start over tomorrow to transform. In fact, the most powerful shifts happen within the life you already have. It begins with small decisions: drinking your coffee slowly instead of rushing, pausing when you want to react, breathing before sending that text, choosing trust instead of anxiety. Tiny choices, energetic upgrades, new signals. Over time, they reprogram your field. They align you with a new reality, not by force, by consistency. Surrender is not giving up, it's tuning in. We fear surrender because we think it means defeat. But surrender doesn't mean quitting. It means quitting the fight. It means letting go of the need to control every outcome, to predict every step, to micromanage your destiny. Surrender is when you trust the intelligence of the field. You stop yelling, "How?" and start whispering, "I trust." And in that trust, you begin to hear the guidance that was always there. Gentle shifting is not about pushing harder. It's about listening deeper. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to trust ease. And when you do, you stop blocking the flow that's been trying to reach you. Why force backfires? When you operate from urgency, neediness, or desperation, you emit a frequency of lack. And the field, it reflects that back. Urgency says, "I don't believe it's coming." Obsession says, "I'm not enough until it arrives." Desperation says, "I need this to feel safe." And the field says, "Okay, here's more absence." So we hustle harder, try to override the field with action, and wonder why we feel stuck. You cannot outwork a misaligned frequency, but you can out-align it. And that's where gentle shifting begins. Coherence attracts. Resistance repels. The field is always responding.
If you wake up each day and carry yesterday's fear, you send a distorted signal. But if you wake up and ask, "How would I move if I knew it was already unfolding?" you begin to broadcast coherence. That clarity pulls new people, ideas, and opportunities into your orbit. You don't need to chase. You need to hold the signal. And that holding, that's a practice of gentle shifting. The practice of gentle shifting. Let's ground this in daily life. Here's what gentle shifting might look like. Morning. You wake up and place your hand on your heart. Before checking your phone, you breathe in trust, breathe out fear. You set the tone. Today, I move with ease. Midday, a challenge arises. Your old self wants to spiral. Instead, you pause. Witness, ask, "What's the aligned response here?" You choose a new thought. Evening. You reflect on the day, not with criticism, but with curiosity. Where was I in alignment? Where did I drift? You adjust the dial. Day by day, you begin to build a new energetic baseline, not because life outside you changed, but because you did. Repetition greater than revolution. We crave dramatic change because we've been taught that big equals better, but in the quantum world, repetition matters more than intensity. It's not what you do once that creates your life. It's what you practice energetically. One powerful meditation is beautiful, but a daily commitment to presence, that rewires your reality. Gentle shifting means you don't need to arrive overnight. You just need to stay in motion. Identity is the shift. You're not trying to get something. You're becoming someone. The goal isn't manifestation, it's embodiment. So ask, what kind of person naturally attracts the life I desire? How would they speak, think, decide? Can I be that now? When you live as if it's already true, not to fake it, but to claim it, the field reorganizes in response. Reality shifts not when you change the world, but when you change your identity within it. Gentle is not equal to weak. Softness is not weakness. It's refined strength. It takes courage to slow down when the world says speed up. It takes trust to let go when fear says grip tighter. It takes faith to shift from chasing to allowing. This is spiritual maturity. It's not laziness, it's mastery. Even science honors stillness. When your body enters coherence, your heart rhythm, brain waves, and nervous system align. In this state, your energy becomes efficient, magnetic, focused. Healing accelerates. Intuition sharpens. Clarity emerges. This isn't just spiritual, it's physiological. You were designed to flow. You just forgot. Gentle shifting helps you remember. From collapse to expansion. When something goes wrong, delays, rejection, confusion, we tend to collapse. We spiral into doubt. But gentle shifting asks a different question. What is this moment asking me to become? What signal am I emitting right now? Can I hold my frequency, even here? And when you do, you become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because you are stable. Visual, a storm outside. Inside, a person sits still, candle lit, calm, unmoved. You don't need to earn transformation. You don't need to prove yourself worthy of change. You don't need to fix everything first. You don't need to hustle your way to healing. You are worthy of the shift now. You can step into alignment now. Not when you're perfect, but because you're present, that's enough. And it always has been. Final truth. Subtle doesn't mean small. A whisper can start a revolution. A single choice can reroute a lifetime. Gentle doesn't mean passive. Subtle doesn't mean weak. Quiet doesn't mean ineffective. It means precise. It means powerful in a way the world hasn't learned to measure yet. And that's the new model of transformation. You don't need to force your way into a new life. You only need to stop rehearsing the energy of the old one. That's gentle shifting, the daily devotion, the quiet practice, the becoming. Part 5, you are the shift. You came here looking for a shift, and somewhere along the way you realized it wasn't out there. It was you. The field doesn't change when you wish harder. The field changes when you do. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe has been waiting on you. To remember what you are, to remember what you carry, to remember that you don't chase the shift. You are the shift. You are not separate from the field. Let's begin here. You are not an outsider trying to influence a universe out there. You are made of it, composed of the same particles, the same intelligence, the same waves of potential. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. Every breath you take, every emotion you feel, every thought you hold, ripples through the field, adjusting the frequencies around you. You are a broadcaster, but more than that, you are the source of the signal. The world doesn't just respond to your energy, it evolves through it. You're already creating. Now do it intentionally. Here's the thing, you've always been creating. The question is not if you're manifesting. The question is how consciously. Every complaint is a prayer. Every reaction is a spell. Every thought a blueprint sent into the field. You are always instructing reality. But when you don't know this, you create by default. From fear, from habit, from survival. Gentle shifting showed you how to become aware of this. And now, it's time to create with intention, to align your energy with what you desire. Not occasionally, but consistently, naturally, embodied. That's when your life becomes a living transmission. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. We've said it before, but it's worth repeating. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The field doesn't give you what you chase, it gives you what you reflect. So the work becomes this. If you want love, become love. If you want abundance, embody gratitude. If you want peace, align with stillness. Not to manipulate reality, but because that's who you really are, without the noise. You're not trying to get to your dream. You're practicing the frequency that already lives there. And the field, ever listening, begins to mirror it back. Identity is the technology you've spent much of your life trying to do more. But doing without becoming is like painting a broken mirror. The distortion remains. That's why manifestation without identity work leads to frustration. You can't force outcomes from an outdated self-image. I want success means nothing. If you're still broadcasting, I'm not worthy of success. The true technology is identity. Ask yourself, who do I believe I am? What energy does that version of me hold? Where am I still acting from the old script? When you answer honestly, you'll find the places where the signal needs to be updated. And once the signal shifts, the outer world has to follow. You're not broken. Your becoming, the journey of transformation, isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about remembering what's already whole. You are not late. You are not wrong. You are not flawed. You are in the process of becoming more aware, more aligned, more you. Every spiral, every setback, every dark night of the soul was not failure. It was activation. Because you can't collapse into your old self once you've tasted the truth. Once you've seen the field, felt the coherence, heard the whisper within, you cannot go back. You can only expand. Embodiment is the destination. You've learned the concepts. You've felt the shifts. You've changed the frequency. Now the path is embodiment, not just knowing the truth, but living it, being it, walking into every room like your energy matters, because it does, making every decision from trust, not fear, breathing, moving, speaking as the version of you who already lives in the world you're calling in. Not as performance, but as practice, daily, quietly, powerfully. Because when you embody your truth, the world bends to meet you. What does living as the shift look like? Let's paint a picture. Mornings, you don't start your day reacting. You start your day resonating. You ask, on what frequency do I choose to anchor today? And you align to that before doing anything else. Throughout the day, you stop chasing results. You start calibrating your presence. You walk slower, speak softer, decide more clearly. You ask, what would my future self do here? How would they respond? What would they release? And then you live from that place, not to prove, but to tune. At night, you don't spiral into anxiety. You reflect, adjust, realign, because you know the shift is not a destination. It's a devotion. Everything is responding to you. When you shift, reality doesn't always change instantly, but it always begins rearranging. You notice different people showing up. Conversations feel more aligned. Opportunities begin to land where they used to float by. It's not luck. It's physics. The field is catching up with the frequency you now hold, and it will never forget that signal. Even when you waver, even when you falter, the moment you realign, the field resumes the echo. The shift is sustainable because it's gentle. This isn't about maintaining a fake smile or forcing good vibes. This is about learning to hold your frequency even when life feels messy. Gentle shifting taught you this: to witness your thoughts without judgment, to feel your emotions as data, not danger, to choose again and again and again. That's sustainability, that's strength, that's soul-deep transformation, not because it's loud, but because it's true. You are the answer you've been waiting for. You don't need another course, another book, another sign. You are the sign you've always been. Every time your heart whispered more, every time you felt out of sync with the world's rhythm, every time you sensed a deeper intelligence beneath the chaos, that was the shift awakening within you. You're not here to follow the shift. You're here to embody it, to walk into the world as a stabilizing frequency, to make coherence contagious, to show, by your very presence, that another way is not only possible, it's inevitable. The final surrender. So now the last invitation. Let go of the need to be anything but who you are. You don't have to perform. You don't have to push. You don't have to do your way into alignment. You only have to be, to trust the field, to trust your energy, to trust your becoming, because you've already shifted more than you realize. And now, it's time to live like it. The most powerful force in the universe is a human in alignment, not because they change the world directly, but because the world cannot stay the same in their presence. You are the shift. Walk like it, speak like it, live like it, and watch as the universe remembers its own rhythm through you. If this message resonated with you, if something in your field feels more alive, more aligned, don't just let it pass. Come back to it, live it, and share this signal with others. This is not just content. This is coherence. Welcome to the new world, one frequency at a time.